Hi YouTube, this is Mommy to Phoenix. I'm going to do a video on my labor and delivery. Um, I really wasn't in labor, but about my whole process about bringing Phoenix into this world. He's 6 weeks old now, so it's been really busy and really hectic, so I haven't had a chance to do this video, so I'm trying to catch up now. He was born August 18th at 10:40 p.m. And it was a C-section. So on August 14th, when I was 37 weeks, I went to my 37-week appointment, and my blood pressure was a little high. I honestly think that the girl who took it did it wrong, because that's the only time my blood pressure was high. But however, the doctor wanted to make sure everything was okay, because I also had to be monitoring my sugar throughout my pregnancy, so he was a little iffy and told me to go in that Friday to the hospital just to be monitored to make sure everything was okay with the baby and with me. And then that Wednesday night, my sugar was like super high for the first time throughout the whole time I've been checking it. So I called the doctor really worried at this point, and he told me to come into his office the next day. We went in, and I told him if I can go in that night to be monitored instead of waiting till Friday just to be safe. So that's what we did. So Friday we went to the hospital with all our bags and all our stuff just in case. And that was Thursday night. Sorry, 16th. Sorry, I have notes. That's why I'm looking. The 16th. So he decided that he wanted to keep me overnight. He wanted to give me antibiotics and monitor me. That was a horrible night. I couldn't sleep. They were monitoring me every time I moved, and the monitor went off. A nurse came in. My husband had nowhere to sleep. We were like half on my bed, half on a chair. It was the worst night of my life. Mind you, I've never been to a hospital or stayed overnight or anything. So it was a really bad experience. So 7 a.m. on Friday morning, the doctor comes in to check me, and I was 1 centimeter dilated. So he said that I should stay and walk, and he would come later on to check me and see if any progress or anything. Sorry, he makes a lot of noises when he sleeps, so he's over here. He's just making noises in his sleep. Um, So I start walking, and they move me to another room because the room I was in was so uncomfortable. And then at 11 o'clock, the doctor comes in and asks me he wants me to have him induce me. So me and my husband got very excited, and we were like, all right, let's go for it. He said it was best for him to induce me. This way, if he didn't, he would induce me within the next week, because with my sugar and the blood pressure and everything, he just wanted to be safe. Didn't want the baby to grow too big and all this. So we were okay with that. So 12 in the afternoon, I finally get into a labor room, like where I would have the baby, and they start monitoring me. We're waiting for the doctor, and 1 o'clock comes, the doctor comes, no progress. So he gives me Cervidil. So I couldn't get up for I think 3 hours. I had to stay in bed. And then um, 5 p.m. I get up, I walk, and he let me eat something. He said that it didn't look like anything was going to happen fast, so he said I can eat something very light, and it was awesome because I hadn't eaten in just about 24 hours. So that was at 5. At 8, I walked around the hospital. I had walked around for like 2 hours, and then 8:45 I went back on the monitor trying to relax. I was super anxious. It was tough. Now 11:30 at night, the doctor comes back to check me, and nothing. So they put two Cervidil. I don't know. I think I'm saying it wrong, but and nothing. There was no progress. Like nothing changed. So he started me on Pitocin. Now I was scared. So 4:57 in the morning, he starts me on Pitocin, and nothing. It was like if nothing changed. So it's now 2 in the afternoon, and the contractions, like, I can feel them, but they're very tolerable, and I'm still just waiting on the doctor now. So now me and my husband started discussing C-section options. We're like, well, what happens if I don't, like, do we go home? What do we do if I don't progress? And it was very nerve-wracking, because it's like I've been in the hospital for 2 days at this point. Do I just go home and wait it out? I've had Pitocin in me. Like, what if something happens with the baby? At this point, we're just like, get this baby out of me. So 5 p.m. comes, the doctor, still no doctor. He hasn't come back to check me, and the pains aren't so bad, but at this point I haven't eaten in 24 hours, and I wasn't starving, but I guess the mental fact of the fact that I hadn't eaten was getting to me at this point. So 7:30 comes, the doctor comes and checks, no progress. He's like, wow, this baby is stubborn. So he checks me and he tells me that the baby's dropped, but like the opening was here, but the baby was here. Like, he was not right in the middle, ready to come down. So he says C-section. Like, that's just what's going to have to happen. So at this point, I'm okay with it. I just want him out. I've been in the hospital long enough, and I just want everything. I want my healthy baby boy. So now we're excited. Within the next hour or two, our baby's coming, and we're leaving the hospital with the baby. Like, we were very excited. I called my family. He called his family. Then around, I want to say 9 o'clock, they take me to give me the spinal so, they can numb me. And my husband's waiting outside, and they're like poking me, giving me local anesthetic, and nothing. The anesthesiologist couldn't find where, like, to put it, because my spine had been swollen from being in bed for so many days. So he must have poked me like 20 times. I'm not even lying. And I was like yelling in pain, but it wasn't like pain, more the anxiety of the position you have to be in, and the belly, and then all these poking, and it was very nerve-wracking. It was a horrible experience. So at this point, I'm just like, put me to sleep. Like, I just get my baby out. Like, this can't be good for my baby. And my doctor then realizes, like, the baby's not being monitored. Stop. He monitors the baby. He lets me hear the baby's heartbeat and tells me that they have to just knock me out and put me to sleep and take the baby out. At this point, they lay me down and knock me out, and I hadn't even seen my husband since before, when we thought I was going to have a regular C-section and be awake from here up, and I was going to see my baby as soon as he came out. So, they just put me to sleep, and at 10:40 p.m., my little miracle was born, and I didn't see him till 3:14 in the morning. So when I woke up around 12, I believe, and I woke up in cold, like, I was freezing, and I was shaking, and I was in pain, and I saw my husband right away. Like, he was there, and they had me wrapped up in towels. Like, my head was wrapped up, my body was wrapped, my legs had these like hot things on them, but I was still freezing. I've never felt so cold in my life, and my body was shivering, and the shakiness of my body and the scar, like where my incision was killing me. So they finally get me to the room. I'm out of recovery, and they take me to the room, and they tell me I have to scoot over from the stretcher to my bed, and they couldn't help me. And my husband couldn't help me. He had to be out of the room. This was so hard. I didn't even know what to do, how to start, whatever. But I did it. I moved over, and they had put a tube in my throat, so I was I had a raspy voice for 2 days, and I had a ball here, and I felt like I had to cough, and every time I tried to cough, it hurt where they had opened me. So I didn't cough for a week and a half, no lie. So then finally, like, I get into bed, I'm in the room, and in my regular room, I'm all there, and my husband goes and gets Phoenix and brings him to me. And I finally see him. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. He was born at 10:40. And it was like amazing. I was, all of that, like, pain and everything was just so worth it. Even though I don't know if I would do it again. Anytime soon, because it was so traumatizing. And it wasn't even just the C-section part of it, because if I would have known I was having a C-section, if everything would have went just, they would have put the spinal, laid down, like, if all that, the recovery and all that, like, you deal with it. I'm not the first or the last. But just the part where they kept poking me and all that, that was intense. But, I mean, he's here now, and he was healthy. He weighed 6'12", 19.5 inches, like, he was perfect. So if that's what I had to go through to get him and for him to be perfectly healthy and fine, then I would do it again. And my recovery process, I'm not going to try not to go too long. It's been 11 minutes. My recovery process wasn't that bad. That night, it was 3 in the morning, so the next day, like around 11 in the afternoon, they got me up and got me out of bed, and that wasn't too bad. But I believe, and for anybody who hasn't had a baby yet, or who knows they're going to have a C-section, or who, even might think of they have a C-section, or when they do, just know that the recovery is mental. If you let yourself fall, if you let yourself get into the, oh my God, the pain, you're not going to recover fast. I mean, the next day I was up, and, I walked in the room, like, I went to the chair, I sat in the chair for a while. Laying back down is always the hardest, and getting back up. That was always like, so the more you lay back down, it's like if you're taking 10 steps back, which was my mistake the first day. I laid back down a little after, and to get back up was hard. But once I got back up, I tried to stay up most of the day and only lay down for nighttime. And before I left there, I, was getting up and down from bed by myself, walking around, doing things for Phoenix. And I believe it's very mental. Like, you have to want to get better, and you have to want to get up. And it's painful, and it's it's easy to fall into that, but you can't let yourself fall into it, because you have a newborn baby that needs you, and if that's not your motivation, then you're gonna, like, fall into it and not get better. Within 5 days, I went back to my doctor, and he took off my staples, and that was like, whoa, like, I can stand up straight. Like, I didn't know how much it was kind of holding me down until they took them off, and I was like, wow, like, I thought I was pretty good until when they took them off. I was like, wow, like, this is so much better. And it didn't hurt at all when they removed the staples, which I was freaking out because I thought it would, but it didn't. And after that, I still feel like a little numbing feeling there, which a lot of people told me that they felt the same. But other than that, I mean, it's day to day, you just get better. So, I mean, if you need a C-section, or if you have to get one, don't feel discouraged. Just mentally know that, it's mental. You need to get better for yourself. You need to want to get better. That's what I mean. You need to want to get better, because if not, you're not gonna get better fast. You're gonna fall into it. So, and that Monday, I went home Tuesday. That Monday was my 1-year wedding anniversary on August 20th. And they did, like, this candlelight dinner the day before you leave. So that worked out. So we had our anniversary dinner at the hospital with Phoenix. And I couldn't have asked for a better 1-year anniversary present. So yeah, if you have any questions about a C-section or about anything at all, comment below and let me know. And I'm so happy to be back doing videos, even though it took over 6 weeks. But I'm going to do Phoenix's introduction when he wakes up, a short video, and show you guys him and kind of an update on mommy life. So Thank you for watching. Bye, YouTube.